before to talk about the methods of assessment of nutrition of different collectives, we need to remember from the biochemistry, from the physiology, the food substances and their functions. All food substances divided by the nutrients and non-nutrients, so given something positive and non-given. Non-nutrients like food additives, food fibers, enzymes, poisonous compounds, etc. Nutrients divide by macro and micronutrients. You have to remember that only macronutrient giving energy. Only proteins, fats and carbohydrates giving energy. Micronutrients, vitamins, minerals, polyunsaturated fatty acid, amino acids, etc. They are very important, but they are not giving energy. They have other functions. I hope you remember functions of food substances for nutrients from the biochemistry, and I will not stop too much time on this, but I will just remind you their names. All the nutrients, they have the common functions like structure, like plastic, energy, but each of them has a specific function. For example, for proteins, mobile function, regulatory function, transport function, buffer function, protection. All these functions form from the plastic function, because protection, it's immunity. Mobile or movement function, it's fibers of the muscles, actin and myosin. Buffer, it's regulation of pH, etc. Fats accept the structure, energy function, and partially plastic function, has the thermoregulation function because it's save our energy, our temperature, protection from the mechanical injuries, regulation of our homeostasis by the fat-soluble hormones, fat origin hormones, transport, digestive function because fats given the taste for the food. Polyunsaturated fatty acids, they all have membrane function, cholesterol excretion, transformation, synthesis of prostaglandins, holding up the vessel wall structure, etc. Carbohydrates. Carbohydrates also classified by available and non-available. Available, those which transform in the body given energy, mono, oligo, and polysaccharides. Non-available, they pass in through our body without absorption, but they have also very important function, like cellulose and dead fibers, because they supply in the function of our intestine, motility function of the intestine. Carbohydrates, they have also structure, energy, plastic function, but together with proteins, they regulate pH, so buffer function, utilization of the dangerous compounds, protection, digestion, regulation. Vitamins, they are coenzymes. Each of vitamin has its own function. You will study on special class for the vitamins, but in general, coenzyme. They all are coenzyme of the enzymes. Same with the minerals. Each mineral has its own special function, but they are substances for synthesis, and they regulate acid-base state of the organism. Methods. If we're talking about the methods for assessment of the collective nutrition, we have a lot of methods. Starting with the simplest one, questionnaire. As you see, each method has its own advantages and disadvantages. Questionnaire methods like fast, cheap, very easy, but not very accurate, because a lot of the deviation and your opinion, it's not always true about your nutrition. Budget and balance. As usually used by government to give assessment for nutrition of population, to forming the minimum salary value, etc. But of course, it's not taking into account any individual peculiarities, any individual moments, nothing. Weight method. It gives us a real amount of food eaten by each person, but of course not taking into account digestion peculiarities, individual peculiarities, time of eating, etc. The best method, of course, laboratory. They are very accurate, they take into account individual peculiarities, real amounts of the food, but expensive, too much time, needs specialists. So laboratory methods used in case of some serious diseases related to nutrition, if we need to give assessment for the nutrition. Use sometimes for the sportsmen, for spacemen, etc. Calculation method. Calculation method is like something between questionnaire and laboratory. It's like better medium, because it could used for a lot of the people, but it should be same people, like with same age, same activity. The most of the characteristics should be the same, and of course it's not taken into account the individual some moments. That's why we're talking about the same people, equal conditions, and it doesn't require any special technique, so it's just calculation, but you need to be attentive with the calculations, with the numbers. So all these methods used for the assessment of collective nutrition, but also could be used for individual nutrition assessment.